Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is Geeking Out Midstream. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Shades.
Welcome back, Sketch.
Are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Tagline, hashtag season 2. Hashtag geeking out. Hashtag, am I doing hashtags right?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. Perfect. Guys.
Well played.
Guys. Rise of Skywalker. Guys.
Oh my. Whew.
We're back in a big way.
Part 1 of our Star Wars extravaganza for series season 2. Series 2 for our friends across the pond.
There's a lot of S's involved with Shades and Sketch. Bit of a tongue twister, but yeah, guys, back for season 2, starting with Rise of Skywalker. How could we not? Another doozy of an episode. Our Star Wars episodes tend to be doozies. Tend to be big.
Yeah. And always create a great disturbance in the Force.
We, with the exception of the Never-Ending Story, we seem to not get such a outcry, such a
for such a nebulous comment from you, Sketch.
Yes.
But you learned your lesson for not having watched it as a child.
Yeah, I did. I really, they showed me.
By bringing this up, you're just inviting more
Why not?
Write-ins.
Why not? It's not like I can go back and change my childhood. So
that's true. If only.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess before we get into any take-backsies or extra comments or anything on Rise of Skywalker, we should probably just dig right into the old mailbag.
Yes, the old GoCo mailbag.
The old GOMB, as they say.
Yes, that is what we refer to it as.
Yep.
All the time.
Gomba.
Apologies to our mail carrier.
Yeah.
But good on them. Always the mail always gets through.
It's the mail carrier from Good Omens.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing stops that man.
Not even death.
So, Shade, you want to start us off with our first listener write-in?
Sure, and this is actually a write-in for our Last Jedi episode, We're still talking Last
Jedi.
We are, in fact, still talking Last Jedi. And this is a write-in from longtime listener Alex. Alex, thank you for writing in. And it is addressing my claim about the hashtag laser sword. Yes, we have talked about this on a previous midstream, Alex, but we did want to get to your question. Yes, Anakin does call Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber a laser sword in episode 1, and I would agree with you that it was supposed to sound like a ridiculous term. We've kind of looped back with, talking about Last Jedi and its purposeful subversion of expectations, which it accomplished. And you can hear our latest thoughts on Last Jedi and our Rise of Skywalker episode. I would agree with you. Luke tells Rey in utter disbelief that he's not going to face an entire army with his quote-unquote laser sword, because that's exactly what he does, kind of, at the end of the movie. And it was a decision that I still don't agree with, but thank you for your thoughts. And I would agree with you. Anakin does, in fact, call it a laser sword. I still think it was poor taste to have Luke Skywalker, the most hopeful man in the galaxy, do so. But yeah, that's from now on. We'll get to my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker and Star Wars as a whole. But yeah, thank you for your write-in.
Still talking Last Jedi.
And still very raw, I'll say, Sketch. Last Jedi, I can acknowledge that it's a well-constructed movie, while at the same time, unapologetically saying it was a bad Star Wars movie.
Well, there you go. There you go.
It was well written and well constructed with a good story, but I don't think it made good Star Wars choices.
Yeah, we touched upon it in our Rise of Skywalker episode that it's it's fine as a standalone movie, but it's problematic as part of a trilogy or part of a set.
Yes. And it was a bold decision to just switch to the Battlestar Galactica universe in mid trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What the frack?
What the frell?
Well, I'll take another one of our longtime listener write-ins.
Yeah, please do.
This one via our Facebook page from longtime listener Emily Ann.
Hey, Emily Ann, thanks for writing in again.
And I am just gonna read exactly what she wrote to us. So she says, found the conversation about Qui-Gon Jinn interesting. I buy most of it, except I think maybe he was our first gray Jedi using powers from both sides to his advantage. Though Maul is definitely Sidious's apprentice. I rewatched The Phantom Menace recently, and he talks directly to him. Count Dooku does tell Obi-Wan that he thinks Qui-Gon would have joined him in Attack of Clones, but maybe that just shows that Qui-Gon's middle-of-the-road nature, and obviously he's trying to get Obi-Wan to switch sides. But here's a dark thought. Anakin is the chosen one because he slaughtered most of the Jedi, thus balancing light and dark in a more equal stance. And maybe Ben really brings it full circle by doing what his grandfather could not and saves the woman he loves from death as a Jedi. Hashtag Reylo forever. Am I doing hashtags right?
You are doing hashtags correctly.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna piggyback as we often do. Emily Ann, great write-in per usual.
Superb.
Appreciate it. I also agree with her. I also caught the Phantom Menace recently. Watched it with Doodle, and yeah, I agree with her, especially that Maul is reporting directly to Sidious. Dooku isn't mentioned at all until Attack of the Clones. And, I also, in re-listening to our Rise of Skywalker episode, I have to address some concerns, some feelings I have on your Qui-Gon Jinn and Force powers and one with the Force and Ben Solo and all this stuff. May I?
Please.
May I? Okay. So I'm gonna go with Emily Ann on this and say, yeah, Qui-Gon could certainly definitely err to the side of a gray Jedi. She's hesitant to put him in the Sith camp, as am I.
And I would just like to say I am not excited about that.
I know you don't. You don't like it.
No.
For the most part, I want to table a lot of our Qui-Gon discussion for when we do the prequels, because I think that's going to be a big, one of our big discussion points is Qui-Gon's nature. But I will say that I noticed in The Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn does not, quote, become one with the Force in the way our other later Jedi do, like Yoda and Luke and Ben. He's burned, and his body is just destroyed, and he doesn't learn to communicate through the Force until after his death. And then, kind of the converse to that is when Ben Solo, at the end of the story, fades into the Force. In thinking about it, I no longer believe that was Ben Solo doing that. I think that was Leia's last final, Force gift that she bestowed upon Ben. She pulled him back into the light. She pulled him into the Force. I don't think Ben was the one that actively became one with the Force at the end of his life.
Leia is the ultimate snowplow parent.
Yeah, I really think that like the message with Leia, just like Han said in The Force Awakens that, he had to try. He had to go get Ben back. This was Leia's attempt at the very end to get Ben back as well.
Do I agree with that? I don't know. It's certainly plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something we just simply don't have enough hard fact on. We don't have enough data in the film.
I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm sure it's going to come up in future Star Wars conversations, although this probably is a good place to talk about it. In the episode, well, I mean, do you have any more thoughts on Emily Ann's writing question here?
No, just that I appreciate it. I do think I do like that kind of Ben brings everything full circle, with doing what his grandfather kind of could and couldn't do, because you could argue that Vader, Anakin, really did take out all the Jedi, which was a huge imbalance in the Force, if what we're looking for is balance. And with the Sith being such a small number, obviously their powers, as deposited in Rise of Skywalker, comes
are much
in this,
greater.
in this kind of beyond death echo of former Siths. And Ben was instrumental, even though Rey was technically the one to take them out. She couldn't have done it without Ben in those last moments.
Right.
So I like that Emily Ann brings it back to like a full circle kind of thing, and that the Skywalkers as a whole were who
brought
eventually brought the balance of the Force.
Right. Yeah. Across generations.
Exactly.
I think that's really nice and neat. And unfortunately, I'm sure Lucasfilm, aka Disney, will do something to fuck it up.
Well, we got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much for writing in, Emily Ann. I certainly don't want Qui-Gon Jinn to be an instrument of the dark side, either knowingly or unknowingly. That was my read of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I still he was burned. I still, he still had to come back, which means he still had to be able to have, how did he learn to coalesce his presence in the great nether realm of the Force?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it is canon, but they could change canon at any time, but it is still canon that he was the first Jedi to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he had to learn the skill from somewhere.
Yeah.
So he had to be able to already know how to coalesce his thoughts on the other side, for lack of a better term.
And to
then cross over.
Even though I don't want to do this, but to further back up your point, as we see in Rise of Skywalker, communing through death does seem to be a very Sith trait.
Sith power. Yeah, Sith trait.
In Rise of Skywalker. I rewatched Phantom Menace, with Doodle. It was just for fun, just kind of memory lane. It was on TV. When we do the prequels, you better believe I'm going to be very analytical about Qui-Gon Jinn.
Sure. Yeah.
Because, and I'll leave it at this, but one of the thoughts I kept having as we were watching it was, Qui-Gon was everything we wanted to see in the Jedi of old.
Right.
And then he's just offed, and then we're just left with 2 more movies of like disappointment of the Jedi.
Absolutely. He was the only one that was with it.
And Qui-Gon was like the Jedi that you expected to get after the limited amount we learned in the original trilogy and then like the expanded upon universe.
Right.
Like Qui-Gon he checked all the boxes.
Luke was certainly closer to a Qui-Gon than any other Jedi we had seen.
Yeah. And it makes sense because Luke was raised in the Force devoid of the Council. And again, I'm going to say the Council really fucked it up.
They really did. And batshit crazy, wily Ben Kenobi is very much a Qui-Gon Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it took 40 years for him to get there.
Yeah. When he loses Qui-Gon, he falls in pretty hard with the Council. As we see in Clone Wars, especially the series. And it's not until basically the fall of the Council and his exile and his communion with, picking back up where he was with Qui-Gon, to kind of get back on the true path. So, listen, definitely more discussion to have.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm more excited than ever to do the prequels at some point.
As am I. Yeah. I said in Last Jedi, I'm sorry, Rise of Skywalker, and I stand by it. If you had asked me going into this, which of the prequels was the most consistent, told a cohesive story, had a specific vision, I did not think my answer would have been, without having rewatched them critically, the prequels.
Yeah. That's true.
But I stand by it.
Yeah. Listen, I had a lot of fun rewatching Phantom Menace.
I would really, I don't have Disney Plus. I don't own them. So I will, I
do own them. It just happened to be on television.
Cool. I don't have that either. But the last thing I'll say with take backsies, I don't take it back, but I made a pretty strong case for Palpatine to be Anakin's father in our Rise of Skywalker episode that was based on the Darth Vader comics, in which the creators seemed to make a very strong case for Palpatine to be Anakin's both Force and biological father.
I did see the final panel that you were talking about. I mean,
at face value, just having read the comic and like what was presented to me, that seemed to be what they were saying to me. Late last month, the end of January, the creators kind of
the comics
the writing team of the comic seemed to unequivocally out of nowhere say, nope, not the case.
Yeah.
That's not what we were implying. To me, that is more Lucasfilm doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And more of the, I hate, it pains me to say this because she's been a part of this thing since the very beginning. More of Kathleen Kennedy's mismanagement of the property. They clearly made this statement with the Darth Vader comic. It seemed pretty clear to me. You took a look at it. It seemed to be what they were saying to you. Maybe you've walked back on that now, but
heavy
to just come out and to say like, that's not what we were doing at all. That's not what it means. Seems like the heavy hand of Lucasfilm, i.e. Kathleen Kennedy, was like, nope, go fix this.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I think.
Right. That's not what we're doing.
That's not what we're doing anymore. So, I mean, and just like take backsies, my new answer for anything Star Wars is, quote, lightsabers are cool.
Lightsabers are cool.
That's really where I stand on Star Wars as a whole right now.
This is the way.
Lightsabers are cool. And anything else is just like, get ready for it to change at a moment's notice and don't get too heavily vested in it.
Yeah. And we will, of course, be talking more at length, just the state of Star Wars and The Mandalorian next week in part 2.
Yes. Our second part of our big open to season 2, The Mandalorian.
And then we're going to give Star Wars a little bit of a break.
Yeah, a breather.
Yeah. Kind of, it seems like just like Disney's doing too.
I feel like we've been light skipping the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Just going to give it a rest.
It's just a heap on fire. Well, moving away from Star Wars for the rest of this midstream, any geeking out news that we should know about this week, Shades?
There's a lot that's happened, and I'm just kind of gonna rapid fire go through them without taking too much time.
Sure.
These are just things that I've seen in the last 5 days. Okay. So on Valentine's Day, Netflix kind of made all of our years. They announced both Stranger Things season 4 for 2021.
Did you see that? Hopper's alive.
Hopper's alive.
Wow. Did not see that coming.
Big Papa Hop. He's alive. I mean, I get surmised as much.
Oh yeah.
But I'm glad to see it's true. And they also announced that Castlevania Season 3, March 4th.
Yeah, so right around the corner if you're listening.
Right around the corner. So something quick and something delayed. So a instant gratification and a delayed reward.
You know, I was talking to the missus about the Stranger Things Season 4 and about Hopper being alive and all that. And
Big Papa Hop.
And I was like, you know what? It's just, I think I've just come to the realization that at this point, I'm just so much more invested in his story than the kid's story at this point.
Right? Would you have imagined that at the start of this show that you'd be like, not. Oh my God, Hopper.
But I'm in, and I'm in a big way.
Yeah. So, do you think that's like the dad hormones in you, or do you think it's just storytelling?
I honestly think it's just storytelling.
I think so too, because that's where I am. Do you think it's because we're old?
It could be because we're old. It really could be because we're old. And we're regardless of what our brains are telling us, we're closer to him than we are to the kids.
Knocking on Hopper's door.
But I don't know. I just find his story more compelling at this point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Even to take away like the craziness that's happened. With
I know. We often say on the pod, "Readings for Chumps" sketch.
It is.
But did you see that there is a standalone Hopper's origin story tie-in called "Darkness on the Edge of Town"?
No, I didn't.
It's a novel. It's very good. Highly recommend it.
Wow.
I know we don't often do recommendations in midstreams, but I highly recommend it.
There you go.
Yeah. And I'll just keep going. Harrison Ford has said that Indiana Jones 5 will begin shooting this summer.
Wow.
Yeah. I have high hopes.
Yeah. We also have to do in Indiana.
I mean, nothing would make me happier, but I think we have to do Back to the Future first.
We have a couple.
It was a Patreon request
on the docket.
We're just two guys traveling the multiverse, you know.
There's a lot.
It's not like we've.
There's a lot of.
It's not like we're the legends. There's a lot of cartoons to watch, guys. What else happened this week? The Batman.
Harvey
sketch. Did you?
Can he be trusted?
No.
I'm a bat.
Yes. You are a bat. He's just sleeping, Batman. Don't worry about it.
I forgot about that one.
Do you not understand the concept of death?
They fight me, and then they get really tired.
Was that who was under
Pete Holmes?
Pete Holmes.
There you go. There's my recommendation for this.
He's got to get back to that. He's got to get back to Batman
series on YouTube. You can find them all there.
He's got to get back to that.
But we got real official Batman news.
Yes, the Batman, the Matt Reeves, the once Ben Affleck helmed, directed, starred in, and written vehicle. Now the Matt Reeves written and directed vehicle starring Robert Pattinson as Batman. They revealed their teaser. It's like the screen test of the bat suit.
Yep.
It might not be the final bat suit. It's it's just where they are right now in production. Yeah. Initial thoughts, sketch.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I didn't go one way or the other. I might be, I have to compare it to when we finally saw the Nightwing suit in Titans season 2.
Sure.
That was like, oh, thank God. I've been waiting for a live action Nightwing for frickin' ever. And then this is, to me, it's just like, okay, another Batman suit. There's a lot of these.
Yeah. Was that your final thought?
And I was also fine with it. Like, I was nothing about it. I was like, ugh, but also nothing about it. I was like, whoa, what a cool new blah blah blah. I was just like, yep, Batman suit. There it is.
I'll just say I'm not excited. I think it's a big step backwards from where we went with Batman. I know every fanboy kind of loses their mind over the Nolan verse. I really enjoyed Batman Begins, and I think it was kind of downhill from there. Um, I really don't like where they went with the suit in the second, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
I'm not wearing
hockey
pads.
Yeah, the bat suit to me works at its best when it is its most minimal. And so the more like armor it looks like, the less into it I am. And this really has a Daredevil theme to it. It looks really cobbled together. With like plating, people are theorizing that the bat symbol in the center of the suit is the hand, like the gun that killed his parents.
I did see that. Which I guess is
where they're going
to the current comics, which I know you're not reading the current comics, and I'm certainly not reading the.
In the current comics, Batman wears the.
Yeah, they've. Oh, I'll try to find the image. Someone I saw online posted a panel from one of the more recent comics of another one of that Batman's origin, and he takes the gun that whoever in this rendition kills his parents used to kill his parents, and he melts it down, and he uses that as the emblem over his heart, because the tool that broke his heart will now protect it.
I don't mean to offend anyone with this statement. That's fucking dumb.
I'll try to find the thing so that people know what I'm talking about.
That's really interesting. That might be New 52, because in New 52 they did retcon like everyone wore armor. It was less like a spandex suit, and everybody had like armored versions of their stuff. They've definitely moved away from that in current continuity. They're back to. So I did briefly go back. Briefly, just to see where they were doing, because they wrapped up Tom King's run on Batman. That had been like a year-long event with they were putting Catwoman and Batman together. They didn't, and the resolution of that. And Batman is now literally wearing the suit he wore before New 52 even started, like right down to the wrestling trunks. Everything has come full circle. We're right back to where we started, and we're already diverging away from that. So I did read about 5 issues just to see where that went. So they seem to have gone back to where the Snyderverse was bringing us. And I'll just say, like, I really liked Ben Affleck's take on Batman. I also really liked Ben Affleck's
Batman. It's why we do have to do Batman versus Superman. Because Ben Affleck, and I wasn't ready to talk about a midstream where we just talk about things that we would never have expected at the very beginning.
Right. I was not ready to say goodbye to him, as apprehensive as I was when they announced him. And I'm just left with this, like, and Robert Pattinson to me is a great actor. Lost City of Z, the King. He's really come into his own as an actor. I mean, Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter, right? He's always been a great actor. Twilight is what it is. And I get that that's what he's most recognizable for, but Christian Bale never really looked the part of Batman to me. He's a great actor. The movies were well constructed. Having grown up reading Batman, he never really seemed Batman to me. Take that or leave it. You don't have to agree with me. Ben Affleck's take on Batman, Bruce Wayne is a disguise.
Yeah.
There's nothing for all of Christian Bale's, this is your fit, Bruce Wayne is your mask. Bruce Wayne was pretty hung up on Rachel, for that to be his mask. Maybe that wasn't as well constructed in the story as they wanted it to be. Ben Affleck's Batman, there is no Bruce Wayne. He doesn't exist. He died in the alley. Period. End of story. He died in the alley with his parents, and that's Batman to me.
Yeah, I'd say that's also closer to the Batman I grew up with in the animated universe, the animated series.
Yeah, the animated series. You could almost see the animated series Batman growing up to become, or aging to become, Ben Affleck's Batman. Certainly somewhere in between animated series and the Batman the Bruce Wayne that coaches Terry McGinnis later in life, who's even more grizzled and probably closer to being where Affleck's Batman was. But that's probably enough on Batman. It just seems too close to Daredevil for me. And I'll just say the cowl looks like it's made out of paper mache. I'll leave it at that. Star Trek Picard has gotten a season 2, and Patrick Stewart appeared on The View and invited Whoopi Goldberg to come back and reprise her role of Guinan, which I'm very excited for. Yeah, I thought. I know you started watching the TNG. Did you get to Guinan? Did you get to like season 3 and season 4, where she features heavily?
I think I'm almost done with season 4. Yes, I have gotten to her.
I loved her character. I would love to see Guinan at this point in her life and what she's been up to in a universe without Picard, and how that's changed her, perhaps. Because you may or may not know, Guinan is basically immortal.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she is of a race of people who just kind of like a Yoda, where they age. Their lifespan is not that of a human. Sure. So she kind of looks younger than Patrick Stewart, but she's centuries older than Patrick Stewart. And there's a fun episode called Time's Arrow that straddles season 5 and 6 that I think you'll particularly enjoy. Sketch.
Well, I'm getting there. Now, I did see episode 1 of Picard. Absolutely fucking loved it.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that, Sketch.
But I'm not. I didn't get CBS All Access. They released the first one for free for a little bit.
Right.
So that's when I watched it. And then does CBS All Access gives you like a free week, right, or something like that? So I'll do that once the whole season's out. And just watch the whole season, the whole thing at once.
Sketch. I'm not going to say on air. I'm not pirating it. I'm not pirating CBS All Access, but I don't know that what I'm doing is in the spirit of the law. I'll just say I have a lot of email addresses at my disposal.
So are you
leave current? It at that. I've watched through episode 4, and I am out of email addresses. And I'll just say episode 4 is called The End of the Beginning, and I am all in. I love this series. It weaves so many things in from the Next Generation so beautifully. You can tell that the people behind it are real fans, and Will Wheaton is doing a companion piece called The Ready Room, where he brings the actors and the creators on to talk about each week's show. And so I can watch all of those. Those are free to watch on CBS. And it's really interesting that when something is not quite up to snuff, that, during production and filming, Patrick Stewart is the executive producer, or an executive producer, I should say. And he is very much, no, we can't do that. The fans will know that's not right. And like all of the actors have talked about that when, things things as they were written at the table reads, like, no, we can't do that. That is not how this character would react. That's not what this should look like. That's not. So he was kind of like executive producer, creative consultant, story consultant, and first on the call sheet. And I love that because, he was very reluctant to come back and do it. And his condition was kind of, we're going to do this right, or no, thank you. And CBS, for as much as they get wrong in Star Trek Discovery, seem to be getting it right in Star Trek Picard.
Again, I can only speak to the first episode, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that, Sketch. Finally, I'll just say Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. I've seen it. I know you've seen it. We're probably going to do that very soon. I loved it, Sketch. I'll just come out and say that now.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
Did you not? Did you not love it?
It was a very good movie. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Snyderverse kind of extended universe kind of alive, maybe, who knows?
I mean, it'll definitely be something we're gonna have to talk about in the full episode.
Yeah. I'll just say, did not matter to me that it was a movie that took place in Gotham without Batman or Joker.
Oh no, I was fine with it. My
I was fine
biggest
with that.
relief leaving the movie was that there was no Joker.
No Joker. Yeah.
Because we do know the Joker that exists in this universe, and no thank you, please.
No thank you, please. And I will just say, Warner Brothers has changed the name of the movie. If you look in a show listing, you will see that it is listed as Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey. And that is what Warner Brothers has changed the name to. Didn't have as big of an opening weekend as they would have liked. I will attribute that to it opened on like against the Grammys or the Oscars or something. It
Also,
opened that
it's
same
February,
weekend.
and February is
February. It was a terrible time to release a movie.
It's when you release movies that you're not expecting to do well.
Exactly. Like movies that you want to do well, you release in May and June and November. So, I mean, I think it had a great opening for a February release movie. And we'll talk more about it in the episode.
Thing, I mean,
it furthers what we've said, that Warner Brothers is the greatest villain of the DCEU.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they'd be now like Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey, because it is very much a Harley Quinn movie, and the Birds of Prey are characters in her movie. But do that at the beginning or don't do it at all.
Right.
No take
backsies.
We're a podcast based on no take backsies.
Yeah. We stand by everything. Even our mistakes, of which we never make. Laser swords. You're still using them correctly. Good
Learning.
Yeah. And the last thing that I have for you, Sketch, is that Netflix is releasing a He-Man anime developed by Kevin Smith. And they've announced that Mark Hamill will be playing the part of Skeletor. I'm all in.
You mainly had me at Netflix. I've been pretty pleased with what Netflix. I just started Lost in Space season 2 with the missus. And
so good, right?
Really enjoying that. I'm just really enjoying
beat the sophomore slump.
Really enjoying Netflix shows for the most part. And if you tell me a He-Man anime-esque adaptation with Kevin Smith, I can't help but kind of think a little bit of Castlevania and how good they did with that. So
well, I'll just say, some people hear Kevin Smith and they think the, View Askew universe, Jay and Silent Bob. Yes, that is Kevin Smith. But Kevin Smith also gave us two of the greatest comic runs on the DC universe. He gave us Quiver, the Green Arrow return, the return of Oliver Queen. He brought Oliver Queen back to life and into continuity in just a beautiful way. One of my favorite runs on a comic book ever. And he gave us Batman Cacophony, which was a great standalone Batman graphic novel. And, I think he's a great storyteller. I think, he, similar to, Quentin Tarantino having a particular slant in his filmmaking and a style. Kevin Smith as a filmmaker has a slant and a style, but Kevin Smith as a writer he's a really good writer and storyteller. And so I'm really excited to see what he does with He-Man.
Like I said, I'm all in. And Mark Hamill's just like the frosting on the cake for me.
Mark Hamill is a delicious frosting on any cake.
I'm pretty much, you can guarantee I'm gonna want to see it or be involved with it. Give me Mark Hamill as a villain.
He's like
holy shit, am I all in?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Skeletor. I mean, talk about Mark Hamill when long may he run. At the end, when it's all said and done, we're going to look back on the body of work that he had. And some people are going to know him as Luke Skywalker. Some people are going to know him as the Joker. Some people are going to know him as Skeletor. Some people are going to know him as Corvette
I will
Summer.
always know him as Tobias.
Some people are going to know him as that
of Sequest.
Tobias of Sequest, right? I will always know him as Tobias of Sequest. Wow, what a career. And just like iconic characters.
Fire Lord Ozai.
And Fire Lord Ozai, it's like, wow, what a career.
Yeah. Skeletor's perfect for him. I can't wait. Yeah, there's no dates on that. Okay.
There are no dates. It's just an announcement.
Something to look forward to. It's nice to have things to look forward to.
It really is. And Castlevania right around the corner.
Our patience has been rewarded.
It has.
Thanks, Netflix.
Sketch, that's all I've got. Thank you, Netflix. And I've said this before, like when Disney brings something to series, Disney goes like, okay, this is going to make millions of dollars. We're going to get lots of subscribers. Netflix, they seem to like, they really do roll the dice. And I love that. And I'm in a show hole right now with Netflix. I've caught up on everything that I watch there. I don't watch, I can't consume everything, but I keep my Netflix subscription going because they do just like, they give things a chance. And like maybe your favorite show only got 2 seasons or 3 seasons or 1 season and it wasn't renewed. But I look at that and I say, you know what? It got 1 more season than it would have gotten anywhere else. Or like you got a season. Nobody else was willing to roll the die on it. No one else was willing to tell that story. Maybe it didn't run forever, but they gave it a chance. And, it probably didn't net them. They do a lot of like one-off series, seasons, movies, things that might have no other means of distribution. And I just think that's awesome that they fund distribution for things that they know aren't going to garner them any kind of like monetary reward other than their, the subscription that they're getting from someone monthly. And I think that's awesome. And I don't see another major distributor like that. You could argue that Amazon's kind of doing that, but Amazon's like, Amazon has the benefit of the Amazon marketplace backing them. Netflix just has its subscribers and its investors. And, for them to roll the dice on a show is risky. And they do it over and over and over again. And I'm going to continue to reward them.
Appreciate it.
I really do. I really do appreciate it. And I do get upset with Netflix every so often, but, it's the one thing that if I look back on my adult life, since I subscribed to their mail order movie rental system, I have never canceled it.
That's something.
And I never will.
From you?
Yeah. I think it is. It's probably like the most consistent thing that I've ever had in my adult life. And I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it. In terms of like an expense, I'll say, you know what I mean? Like I've canceled Hulu, I've canceled like PlayStation, I've canceled, other like, mail order services for like clothing or gear for like hiking in the outdoors.
I have also never
canceled Netflix.
Canceled Netflix.
I think that says something about it.
We're two lifers.
Netflix for life.
Netflix, don't fuck it up.
Guys, don't make me come up with like lightsabers are cool for you.
Even though we have a whole section of our midstreams called Take Backsies. Me either.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sketch. That's all I've got for you this week, Sketch.
It was a lot.
That was a lot. It was jam packed.
Absolutely.
I did my research. And we've already announced our big Mandalorian episode for next week. So please do tune in and come back. Keep those questions coming in. And I will take this opportunity to remind you that we are a funded, a listener-supported show. If you would like to support and help fund this show and keep our whole back catalog on the air, head over to patreon.com/shadesansketch. And we're about to drop our first Patreon-exclusive episode of Season 2.
And it's a good one. It's a
really good one.
Oh. We'll tell you what it is when it drops.
When it drops.
Yeah. We'll tell you. Let's just say it shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, it is.
It's
that time of year.
That's a great way of saying it. Yeah, it's that time of year.
Thank you. And Sketch, should we throw the old GoKo into forward motion?
We've got a child to save.
Let's burn some Force-sensitive trees.
This is the way. I have spoken.
This is the way.
Yes,
we have spoken,
guys. We'll see you next week.